Hey, it's Johnny. Just wanted to do a little short video here talking about middle ground. I want to actually talk about common sense a little because I believe that common sense plays a big part in us walking in the middle ground and actually kind of like the voice of reason. And even when we read the Word of God or in our everyday lives or anything that we do, using common sense. And you've heard a lot of people, especially some of the old timers, say that we're lacking common sense nowadays. And you can look it up and who knows what kind of definitions, how many things they'll say that common sense is. But to me, common sense is thinking for yourself. Some places have, started a while back saying to people, trying to encourage their employees to think for themselves. And they said, think outside the box. And that's just a way to get people to think, period, to me. Just to think for yourself. People have become so focused on education, which education is a good thing. I'm not saying that it's not, but become so focused on it till if a professor didn't say it, or if it ain't wrote on a book somewhere, or you wasn't taught it in school, it don't work. It's not feasible. You can't do it. We just function almost like a robot nowadays. It's amazing that people don't think for themselves. Common sense to me is, I was talking to a guy a while back, and I don't know what come up. You know how guys talk, and he said something about going to the bathroom and how it splashes everywhere. It splashes sometimes. And I said, that's why I throw a piece of toilet paper in there before I go so it don't splatter. And he looked at me like I was a genius. And I never thought of that. So do you ever think? Do you think sometimes? Just think sometimes, Not that I'm anything, but it's just a matter of sometimes we're just giving a little thought to something. That's kind of crude, but it was an example that I thought of. But I worked with an engineer in the Forest Service, several of them, but one day we went out, we were going to put in these vault toilet things. They weren't very big and it wasn't nothing special, but you would have thought that we were building a Walmart out there, a super Walmart. And we just spent 2 or 3 days planning and looking and checking, and with a transit out there shooting the grades and just looking and doing, and we'd recheck and double check and go back and check. And by the time we ever started, if I'd have been by myself out there, I'd have had the job done and been finished and gone home. Overcomplicating things, just a little common sense. It was a small little project, and I would have took 4 stakes, wood stakes, drove 4 on each corner of it, took 4 wood stakes in the ground and stretched some contractor string across, and put some little string levels that clip on your string across there, and leveled that thing up, and it'd be obvious where your low spots were and your high spots were. But we shot the grade, only checked it and fooled, then you'd have to go back and recheck and go back to the original shoot to make sure that nothing had changed. And I mean, it was just so complicated. If you were building a big job, doing a big job, yes, that would be necessary. But for a little small porta potty. And so I was like, but you couldn't get the man to think outside the box. That's the way he had learned, and that's what he was going to do. And to take it a step further, we were driving the stakes in the ground, and you wanted the top of the wood stake to be at this level that we had shot with the transit. And if it was a low spot, well, then you don't drive your stake in as far. If it's a high spot, you drive your stake further down so that it's on level, the top of the stake's on the same level as the rest of the stakes. And one stake, we hit rocky ground, and we couldn't go any deeper. It was in Wyoming. It was rocky up on a mountain. And I said, well, let's just break a stake in half and use it that way. And that engineer, that won't work. That won't work. And I couldn't convince him that it'd work. And the other guy that was with me, he said a few things. It's like, well, why wouldn't that work, But it don't say that in the paper. He didn't read that in the book nowhere, so it couldn't possibly work. Finally, I convinced him, let's just try it. And then he said, well, we don't have a saw. We don't have no way to cut one of these little wood stakes off. And I took the stake and propped it up against something, took a hammer and whacked it and broke it. And drove it in the ground, and it worked, and he was astonished. He just could not fathom it, that worked and that I was able to do it. And he told that other guy later, talking about me, said, man, he's got some special skills. It was just a little bit of common sense. Nothing special about it. And I'm not making fun of that guy. I'm just saying that common sense, just to think a little bit. But it's the same way with the Word of God. When people read the Word of God, it seems like they throw their ability to understand English out the window. They throw their what they comprehend of math out the window. And it's astonishing that you can get 5 different people to read the same different scripture and give you 5 different things what it means. But it's like, don't forget your math, don't forget your English, don't forget your common sense when you read the Word of God. But to use common sense, it keeps us in the voice of reason down the middle. If the devil can get you to go way off over here on some side trail, you'll forget what you really was trying to do for the Lord. Or either that, he'll get you something so complicated and so hard till you'll get so discouraged you'll quit. You just feel like you can't get it done and you'll give up. And he uses that on me quite a bit. You're so over here or over there until you just you give up. And so I just wanted to say to people, and it may be kind of humorous, but use a little common sense. Use the voice of reason, listen to the voice of God, read the Word, obey God, and keep it simple. Keep it down the middle, in the middle ground. And things will work out a whole lot better. Lord bless you.